Row 18, plot 20.
Hey everybody, welcome to Now It's Dark. I'm Jim, and it is Dollar Tree Theater. We are still in the month of December, so I'm doing religious horror-based movie reviews. You know, not like exorcism ones, but more of the other type of religious horror movies. I did Sacrilege. This is a 2020 film. It's an hour and 23 minutes. It's got a 3.5 rating on IMDb. It is available on Tubi and many more other free streaming services. So after this review, if you're interested, you can check it out. The main plot is four lifelong friends head to a remote lodge for a weekend of fun. What begins as an idyllic, whatever, retreat quickly descends into a fight for their lives when a local pagan cult offers them up to their goddess as a sacrifice for the solstice. It sounds great. I love that. The director is David Creed, who is also the writer, and it stars some wonderful actresses: Tamron Payne, Emily Wyatt, Cyan Abrahams, and Naomi Willow play a foursome of, I think they're all lesbians. I know for sure two of them are kind of in a relationship, and they do have some girl-on-girl action. Woo! We have Ian Champion, who plays Father Saxon. He would be the leader of the cult. And we have Rory Wilton, the groundsman. So he's the guy kind of running the house that they rent for the weekend. And then there's a character, Connor McKenzie. That's the actor. The character is Jimmy. So this movie, I can go either way on, kind of. They do some cliche stuff, and I'll get into that. Let's just read the notes, and we'll go from there. Okay. Oh, yeah. See, I watched this the other day. Usually I watch the movie and do the review, but I'm trying to do something different so that I don't give a review that's so emotional. So the opening credits are very drawn out sequence of overhead shot of wilderness, and it goes on for quite a little while, and it becomes boring. So I was already like just a few minutes into the movie, and I was getting kind of like but I guess the intent is to show how remote the location is, maybe. I'm not really sure. But then it kind of picks right up with a good first kill. And then that kind of is over. And then we get the cliched traditional way of meeting the main cast. And we meet the girls kind of singularly at a time. And then after we're introduced to the girls, one of them notices some breaking news on their phone. Like they literally had like a screenshot of breaking news. And it was some past traumatic. I'm not going to give I don't want to give a spoiler review. So it was like something that sparked like some bad memories for one of the girls. So they go to a bar. They're kind of like, just kind of chilling. And the one says, you know what, we haven't had a girls' weekend, where we just kind of like relax and chill. So let's plan like this trip and just get away for the weekend. So that's what they do. And then we get this very cliched travel montage of the group in the car set to music, silliness, and no dialogue, and then, the different, you know what I'm talking about, the travel montage, and they definitely play that up. They do come across a hitchhiker, and that would be that character Jimmy. He is walking, and they decide to pick him up because there's four of them, and there's only one of him. What could go wrong? And he tells them that he's on his way to this festival in the woods where they smoke weed and drink wine, and they do things. So they get to a point where they drop him off, and then they make their way to the house that they're renting. Meanwhile, there's little things kind of in the background. There's definitely a lot of it in that house that they're staying at, and that would be like these stick figures, not the Twanas, which are like the traditional looking ones that everybody identifies with the Blair Witch, but other like deer heads and things, like infused skulls of animals with sticks and things like that. They're kind of scattered throughout in the background. It kind of becomes a prevalent theme when we get to the festival. So now we're at the house. They're kind of picking their rooms, and there's some tension between the one girl and the other girl because they're kind of falling out or whatever. They, of course, don't have cell phone service, so that's a thing. They find that there's like a greenhouse that the owner of the house or the caretaker is growing weed, so they decide to light up, and then we get the traditional, and it was daytime, and then all of a sudden when they decide to, like, they're going to break into his stash, and if they get caught they'll pay for it. It's nighttime, and we get a couple of times throughout the movie my favorite transition of all time, the full moon in the sky transition, to let you know that it's night. Because the darkness isn't enough to let us know that it's nighttime. You have to do the full moon transition. So then we get the montage of smoking and drinking. The hitchhiker shows up, scares the crap out of them, asks them if they want to go to the festival. And they're down for it. They've smoked enough weed, they've drank enough wine that they're kind of lit, and they're like, yeah, let's go. So they go to it, and it's a festival of offerings. So even, I'm sure the characters were supposed to feel this way, because I did, maybe. You hear the word festival and you think something more festive. But when you get there, there was a lot of people, and they're sitting kind of in a semicircle with the fire pit and the what was his name? Father Saxon, giving a little bit of a sermon, but not really, like a churchy sermon, but more of a, let's embrace and enjoy and give sacrifice. And he slices his hand and drips it into this cauldron thing. They pass around this write down your fear thing. So you've got all these papers and pencils, and you write down what your fears are, and then you toss them into the fire. And then they start smoking more weed and drinking more wine, and then the dancing starts, and some shirts come off, and they're just having a great old time. The girls walk back to their cabin in the woods. It's not a cabin, it's like a big stone house. It's a nice house. They each kind of go their own way. The one girl wants to do the traditional, it's the middle of the night, let me strip down naked and go for a swim. I'm so sorry for that. Then she has like a vision of a dog a big like Rottweiler comes to attack her. They all start having like weird visions and dreams and things. The next morning, one of the girls goes jogging and she ends up at the festival site, sees all the party garbage, the leftover stuff, and then she starts seeing bugs crawling all over her. And meanwhile, the other two girls kind of reconcile and they get their little freak on. Bow, chicka, bow, wow. Let's see. And then one of the girls kind of goes missing. I'm skipping a little bit of stuff in there. I'm giving a little bit away, more than I thought I would. But so they end up looking for the one girl, Stacy, and a couple of the girls end up at the festival site again, where they are confronted by one of the older women that was at the festival. She gives them a warning that they all need to stay together. They're stronger together. They have some more freaky visions. So then they decide to leave. So they find Stacy. They get into their little Jeep van thing, and they go to leave. But then they get stopped by the group, the festival group with Father Saxon, and they got the traditional old timey-wimey mob scene with like torches and everything, and you shall not pass kind of a thing. And yeah, so they find out that they are stronger together. I don't want to give away the ending because it's kind of a underwhelming ending, but if you're going to watch this movie, you know, then you'll see. It was such an underwhelming ending that I watched all the way through the credits, hoping there was like an end credit scene that was going to be the thing that made it like good. No, nothing. So it's not a horrible movie, but it's definitely not like very supernatural. It's borderline religion, cultish kind of stuff. But it's not horrible. So, yeah, Sacrilege 2020. You can watch it for a Tubi on a Tuesday. You can watch it on a Tuesday on Tubi, or something to that effect. I think I've only got one more, maybe two more Dollar Tree theaters for December. And we'll have to dig through the stash of DVDs back there and see what other religious-based horror movies I can come across. Until then, do not have a happy holiday.